Welcome back, survivors. Studio Wildcard have spoken about and updated the situation on the ongoing DDoS attacks against their server provider Nitrado, which continues to cause intermittent connection issues. And whilst Wildcard's update on this is very carefully written to not provoke the attackers into further attacks, this is the type of communication and updates that people have been asking for and I think will appreciate. I'd say the situation really is concerning at the moment because there is no signs of it easing up. So let's take a look at what Wildcard have said. As always, survivors, if you want to keep up with all the latest ARK news, please do subscribe. So let's break this down into chunks. They've said we're still experiencing heavy DDoS attacks and we've just been hit with a large one, which is why there were sudden intermittent connection issues on some of our servers right now. Our hosts are aware of the ongoing attacks and doing everything they can to mitigate them, including working with other external specialists. So this pretty much confirms that DDoS attacks are still ongoing, although maybe not quite on the scale as they were before when we saw most of the official server network taken offline. Now, I know there are some people out there that don't believe there are any DDoS attacks, and this is just a cover-up of Nitrado and Wildcard's incompetence. Now, whilst there's no grounds to believe there's no DDoS attacks besides ARK's poor history with the issues, people are going to think what they want to think, even if there's no rationale behind it. That's never going to change. But this update does state that attacks are still ongoing, and this was posted around 4:30 AM Monday morning in the UK. We have to be delicate about how much information we share, as too much can make us vulnerable to more attacks or even just provoke the attacker to go further. It's possible that this message alone could cause us to receive a heavier attack. We're not dealing with script kiddies, or script kitties as I call them here. These are the largest attacks in ARK's history, and frankly some of the data would be newsworthy. The people doing this are professionals, and it wouldn't be surprising if this isn't even the hardest they could hit us. The teams working on this are doing everything they can to mitigate the attacks and keep the servers online. Now, this is very true depending on who you're dealing with. The way you respond or divulge information regarding the attack or the people behind the attacks can result in attacks getting worse. Now, Dolly said on several occasions that this is the biggest attacks that ARK have ever seen. Now, I know that ARK has had a history of DDoS attacks. Even from ARK Evolved, they have happened from time to time. But this update doesn't give any indication on the volume of the attack. So even if it is ARK's biggest attack they've ever seen, that doesn't mean that it's a massive attack. Having said that, Dolly did say some of the data would be newsworthy. Now, if you ever see DDoS reported in the news, generally it is in terms of the volume of the attack or the power of the attack. Back in 2021, Microsoft mitigated a DDoS attack that was over 3 terabits per second, which at the time, and possibly still is, the biggest ever DDoS attack that's been seen. Where ARK's DDoS attack sits on that scale, we have absolutely no idea. Now, whether this is players or a tribe that's retaliating against being wiped or banned, which rumor has it that is the case, but I've not seen any actual proof to say who's behind it. Anyone, you or I, could go on the internet right now if you know where to look and hire a DDoS service. There are basically DDoS as a service platforms that are available on the internet for you to buy or to rent access to, that's connected to a DDoS botnet of compromised devices all around the world. Now, if these attackers that are doing this are using a DDoS as a service platform, all they really need to do is have some money, know where to point the attack to, and that's pretty much it in layman's terms. So these DDoS as a service tools are made by professionals, but for somebody to use these tools, they don't need expertise. They don't need a history of doing DDoS attacks. They don't need any knowledge really. All they need is the money, the target, and a motive. But this is very concerning for ARK. I think you should be concerned about it because there is no signs of this ongoing attack coming to an end. Yes, most of the servers are up now, some with intermittent connection issues, which may be related to the DDoS attacks, maybe just related to ARK in general. But it is scary to think how long this could go on for. I believe these DDoS attacks have been going on for at least a month now. We've just been hearing about them recently because I think maybe the attacks have ramped up and the power of the attacks have ramped up as well. But basically, these attacks will carry on until the attackers decide they've had enough. So I think for ARK's sake, because I mean, Wildcard and Nitrado, they all create problems for themselves. We don't need DDoS attacks on top of those problems. So let's hope it resolves very soon. But that's the latest update on the DDoS attacks. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to keep updated.